My best friend told me I was too involved with her kids, so I stopped showing up completely. I met Crystal in college, and we became the kind of friends who would do anything for each other. When her husband walked out while she was 6 months pregnant with her second child, I moved in for 3 months and never really left. That was 7 years ago, and I became Auntie Lainey, the woman who knew her oldest was allergic to strawberries and terrified of thunderstorms, the woman who could get her youngest to sleep when nobody else could. I was the emergency contact at both their schools, and the person who held Crystal's hand in the delivery room when her youngest came into the world. I never expected a medal for any of it because I loved those girls like they were my own, and I thought Crystal understood that. About 6 months ago, Crystal started dating a guy from work, and everything shifted. Her new boyfriend had opinions about me from day one, constantly asking why I was always around and suggesting it was strange for a single woman to be so attached to someone else's children. Crystal started canceling our usual weekend plans and having him handle school pickups instead, which he constantly messed up by forgetting backpacks or showing up 20 minutes late. I told myself this was just an adjustment period and tried to give them space. Then came her youngest daughter's 7th birthday party, and I overheard a conversation that changed everything. I was in the kitchen grabbing juice boxes when his voice carried in from the living room. "It's honestly pathetic," he said. "A woman with no family of her own playing pretend with someone else's kids." I froze and waited for Crystal to defend me. Instead, I heard her sigh. "I know. I've been trying to get her to back off, but she won't take a hint." I walked straight out to the backyard where she was standing. "Is that really how you feel about the last 7 years?" She crossed her arms. "He has a point. You're too involved, Lainey. Maybe it's time you focused on building your own life instead of borrowing mine." I gave her exactly what she wanted and disappeared from their lives completely. 2 weeks later, my phone rang, and it was the elementary school telling me that Crystal's youngest was having a severe allergic reaction and they could not reach her mother. I was still listed as emergency contact, so I grabbed my keys and the EpiPen I had been carrying in my purse and ran. I made it there in 12 minutes and handed over the EpiPen. The nurse administered the shot while I held the oldest daughter in the hallway and let her sob into my shoulder. 20 minutes later, Crystal finally rushed through the doors with her boyfriend trailing behind her. She spotted me and her face went hard. She pulled me into an empty classroom and got right in my face. "What are you doing here?" "I told you to back off." I stared at her in disbelief. "I just saved your daughter's life." She stepped closer. "You had no right to be here. You're not her mother, Lainey. Stop pretending you have any claim to my children." Something in me snapped. "I'm the one who noticed she was developing a peanut allergy 3 weeks ago. I told you about it and you said I was being dramatic. So I bought an EpiPen with my own money and I called the school nurse myself to warn her." "What exactly did you do, Crystal? Because you couldn't even answer your phone." Her boyfriend stepped forward with his chest puffed out. "You need to leave. This is a family matter." I turned to him slowly. "You've known these kids for 6 months, and you still call the oldest one by the wrong name. Sit down." The school nurse appeared in the doorway and looked directly at Crystal. "Ma'am, if this woman hadn't arrived when she did, your daughter would be in an ambulance right now." She was the only contact who answered. The older daughter pushed past her into the room with tears streaming down her face. "Auntie Lainey is the only one who knows anything about us. You don't even remember my teacher's name, Mom." Crystal stood there with nowhere to hide. Her boyfriend looked around at the chaos, at the crying child, at the nurse staring him down like he was dirt on her shoe. "I need to take a call," he muttered, and walked out without looking back. Crystal turned to me and her voice cracked. "I didn't know. I didn't know any of it." I shook my head. "That's exactly the problem. You didn't know because you were too busy listening to a man who couldn't even stay when your daughter almost died." I knelt down and pulled both girls into my arms. "I love you both so much," I whispered. Then I stood and looked at Crystal one last time. "I would have done anything for you, for them, but you called me pathetic for loving your kids like my own, and I can never unhear that." I walked out of that school and made it all the way to my driveway before I let myself fall apart. I lost my family that day too, but I was never allowed to call them that.